watching Numbskull News, and today I want to talk about the ACC. Now, some people out there feel that they're not going to lose that many. They're going to lose Florida State. They're going to lose Clemson. They'll reconstitute or whatever. There's people that think, hey, even if they lose a couple to the Big 12, they'll still coalesce and come together, form maybe a Brainiac conference or something like that. Add in a bunch of AAU schools from the G5 and keep going forward like that. I don't really see much of that in their future. Now, there's a little bit of something that I think the brands that don't get into the other Big 3 conferences can do, possibly an Oregon State, Washington State type of thing. Maybe there may be enough money left over where they could build something and maybe get a league that's on par with whatever will be the new Pac-12. That could happen. But there's people that think there's something more. So let's take a look at it. All right, so right here, I have your baseline ACC in which to rebuild from. Now, if you notice, I don't have a Stanford or a Cal. Because I think with these brands here, monetarily speaking, you're not going to be bringing in near what you're bringing in now. So they may as well go back to the West Coast, possibly rejoin that new Pac-12, and let's say it only makes around $15 million. What the hell do you think this is going to make, y'all? But, first of all, we got to get this thing back to 15 before we can really discuss that. But I'm just saying Stanford and Cal is gone. Florida State, Clemson gone. Miami's gone. And if you notice, I also said Louisville won't stick around for this. And I went ahead and threw in Pitt just so I could have room to add more people. We'll see what happens. But let's say all this group right here wants to stick together at whatever this is. And I know what you're saying. Well, hold on. UNC won't be there. I don't believe they have room for the Big 2. And if I'm right, then I'm going to go off of, they won't sully themselves with the Big 12. So, and same thing with Virginia. I don't believe Virginia is going to the SEC. I don't think the invite's coming. I don't think ESPN gives a damn about putting in either one of these two schools. And especially with the attachment of UNC and NC State, that's a big pain in the ass. Not happening. So here's your 8 schools plus your 9th voting member, Notre Dame. There is a lot of value there. You do get 5 games a year with Notre Dame. And let's say they stick around for whatever reason. But for less money. But, we'll address some of that later. First of all, let's talk about what can you add to this. What is your top priority ads? Your 2 top priority ads are Memphis and South Florida. Memphis, with that FedEx money coming in, they're about to blow up their athletic department. And I mean in a positive way. They're already a really good basketball program, football, up and down. But as you can see with a lot of people in here, football is up and down. So they kind of fit right in. I put FSU here because if you notice, there goes all your Florida teams. You got to get back into Florida with the new ACC. South Florida is the best choice left on the board. That's what you do. I think Navy is a no-brainer for this new conference. All right, they already have a loyal fan base. They play Army. They play, and by the way, I wouldn't be mad at Army if you're looking at Army. But Annapolis, that's a prestigious place. The Naval Academy is prestigious as hell. I don't care what Navy's record is or isn't, but when they're playing the other service academies, when they have that Service Academy Bowl, I don't know what it's called, but it gets good ratings. So they have value to be brought into this thing. And I know this isn't exactly Brainiac ads as far as Memphis and South Florida. Let me address that real quick. You got to have some athletic brands in here. It can't just be all AAU. That makes no sense. And next up, is Tulane. You know, that's a perfect academic ad. Plus, they play a pretty good game of football. It's a pretty good brand of football at the level they're currently at, which I think they would do just fine against a lot of these schools up in here. But to me, those are your top ads. However, you're going to have to be fighting this new Pac-12. They're going to go after Tulane. They're going to go after Memphis. They may go after South Florida. And Navy, but that doesn't make sense. So either way, we got to put more on this list, not because you need them, but because some of these you may not get. You may not get. The Rice Owls get you into the Houston market. Plus, they've been a little bit better of a football brand, but very prestigious academic school. So the powers that be in this new ACC, I think they would love Rice. Absolutely love them. But we can't stop there. We got to keep going. UConn. If you look up here, you got 2 blue bloods already in basketball in UNC and Duke. Adding UConn to the mix. I know the football sucks, but hey, look around this new conference. A lot of the football sucks. So it's not really taking away, if you ask me. I think the basketball they bring overrides all that. I think that makes perfect sense. Geographically, makes perfect sense. There you go. SMU. They're already in the ACC. They are going to start this year. I haven't talked about them. I left them off the list. And that's because they're going to have a decision to make between the ACC and the new Pac-12. I mean, Memphis, Tulane, a lot of these schools have the same kind of, will have the same kind of decision. SMU, I think at this current rate, they're going to want to stay in the ACC. But think about it, guys. This is a conference that is going to be spearheaded by UNC, Virginia, and I guess Notre Dame. You got 5 games with them, but that's it. But that's who's spearheading this new conference. That viewership sucks. It just does. And right now UNC, Duke had an amazing year in viewership last year, football viewership. But really, outside of Notre Dame with their 5 games, UNC, and NC State out of all these is probably your biggest ratings draws, with Virginia being quite a ways down from them. Although Syracuse and Georgia Tech can be respectable for teams that aren't exactly killing it and crushing it every year on the football field, there's still, that's kind of a respectable ratings number they get. But when those are your top guys, your top draws, this is a major problem with getting a new contract. So I believe the reason I'm bringing this up, ESPN, I believe that they're out in 2027. I believe you're going to lose your top brands. And in 2027, once ESPN pulls out, you're going to lose some of your middle-class brands like Louisville and Pitt. Virginia Tech as well. I didn't include them. I'm just assuming, hey, you're going to lose some stuff to the Big 12, like it or not. So I threw those 3 over there. And by the way, UConn may get that Big 12 invite. So now you're staring some realities in the face here. Okay. So when I look at this, I have a hard time believing that all of these schools are going to be here in the ACC. Because right now, as constituted, what is that worth? Remember, the Pac-12 was worth, about a $20 million baseline with Apple. With, depending on subscriptions, they could get up to Big 12 money, maybe even past Big 12 money with enough subscriptions. And that's with Oregon and Washington and Utah. People who get way better ratings than this stuff right here. UCLA gets better ratings than this stuff right here. Consistently. You're talking about the LA market. So I'm not believing this hype. And if I'm UNC, I mean, are you just planning on not really having a relevant athletic program anymore? Just going to do your AAU thing, just your academic thing, and that's it? I have a hard time believing that. Why not join the Big 12 for probably double the money? What is this thing going to get? $15 million a year on a streamer? That's what you're looking at. And if that's what you're looking at, folks, you can count UNC out of that. NC State will go with them. Duke will have a home. I'm sorry, Duke will have a home in the Big 12 if they want it with UNC. Look at how the Big 12 is building that thing. How does UNC have all that value, but Duke is devoid of value? That makes no sense to me. Because there's a lot of people saying that, hey, UNC will go to one of the Big 2, and Duke, they don't even have the value for the Big 12. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's a blue blood, basketball blue blood. They'll go. I believe if the Big 12 can get Virginia, they'll offer Virginia. They'll be off the table. So so what does this conference now get with this right here? Can they break 10 million a year? No, they can't. And if they can't, if I'm Tulane, I'm making 10 million in the American, I'm out. If I'm Memphis, I'll go to the new pack for 13, 14, 15 million. I'm out. If I'm Notre Dame, I'm losing too much money. I want to be independent. I'd rather go make a new deal with the Big 12 and play 5 games with them. I'm out. If I'm Navy, what are you doing? I'm out. At that point, SMU will go to the new pack. Gone. UConn, if they can get into the Big 12, they're gone. They're gone. If not, they're not going to come back to the ACC. They'll stay in the Big East. What is this? Out of here. FSU, rather stay. I got $10 million coming to me in the American. I'm out of there. Same thing with Rice. Out of there. You see what I'm saying? Syracuse, Georgia Tech. Could they have a spot in the Big 12? Maybe. So what does this all mean? That means, that's what that means. No ACC. No ACC. Maybe they can, like I said, maybe those teams right here, those 4, if there's no invite, and that would be a damn shame if Georgia Tech and Syracuse couldn't find their way into the Big 12. But I'm saying the same thing about Oregon State and Washington State. Am I not? I am. So what do? There you go. There you go. Now, maybe they band together. Maybe they have some money, some buyouts or something, some kind of money coming to them. Payouts that will pay them enough where they could bind together like Oregon State and Washington State and try to reform the ACC with American schools, with Conference USA schools. Maybe they'll try something like that. But the problem is the PAC is already working on that. You have to be able to beat the PAC. The PAC will have that thing put together. If they're going to do it, they'll have it put together before 2027. And if that's the case, then what are you doing? No, they'll be better off just joining the American. Or some kind of since they'll be the ACC 4 or 3 or 2 or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? That they'll merge with the American and become the new ACC at that point, or whatever. Whatever. But this is inevitable. It's inevitable. Follow the money. Look at the money. It's inevitable. So that took a turn for the worse. It's hard for me to live in some kind of delusionary, fictional wonderland that is the Brainiac conference that the ACC will turn into, because I don't believe that at all. I just think there's too much money out there for some of these brands like UNC. And if I'm right, they can't get into the Big 2. They will go to the Big 12 because there's just too much money to be left on the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, Florida State doesn't want to leave all this money at the table. They're fighting like hell to go to one of the Big 2 conferences. Same thing with Clemson. You think UNC wants to leave money on the table? They don't. And if they can't get into one of the Big 2, well, if they're the big dog in any conference as far as ratings draw, oh my God, that conference isn't going to get 20 mil a team. It's going to get far less than that. Well, what about the ACC network? You can kiss that goodbye when ESPN pulls out. That's gone. I mean, you literally have nothing. So, like I said, I showed you what they could add, and then you put all that together, and what do you have? I know you still got Notre Dame. I gave you UNC. I gave you Virginia. You don't have a lot of viewership. Notre Dame's your best viewership, but you only get them for 5 games. They're not a full member. They got voting rights. You know, everyone will do what they tell them, what Notre Dame tells them to do, but that won't mean a lot. Sorry. Well, I hate to rain all over people's parade like that. I was trying to do something fun like the Pac-12, but right in midstream, I'm like, I can't. I can't. But, yeah. It's a dark, dark future for the ACC. So, sorry, that's just the way it is. Anyway, thanks for watching this crap. I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye-bye.